call the Crewe Town Council meeting to order. Please join with me in the moment of silent prayer. Please join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We want to welcome Mr. Bobby Duffy, who was appointed to fill our vacancy with Reverend Bradley, and welcome back. I guess we should say, how long were you on council before?
About 8 years.
8 years. What year were they?
2002 to 2000 to 2008, somewhere in there. It might have been 2002 to 2010.
Well, we want to welcome you back, and thank you for stepping up to the plate. We have a unique opportunity this year to talk to a lot of candidates, as we've got several elections that are going on. We're going to wait for most of the candidates until after the deadline is passed for filing, and then we'll invite everyone in to talk to council and meet council at a regular meeting. Tonight, however, we did have the two members of the two candidates for Commonwealth's Attorney, Ms. Leanne Waltrus and Mr. Baxter Stegall, who we're going to talk tonight. Mr. Stegall has sent word he cannot make it. He's been just not able to make it tonight. So with that in mind, we'll ask Mrs. Leanne Waltrus to step up and say your piece. Do you need a podium or anything? Or?
I'm good standing here if y'all are good with that. Used to standing in front of people in court. As you said, my name is Leanne Waltrus. I'm running for Commonwealth's Attorney this year in November. I'm currently the Assistant Commonwealth's Attorney for Nottoway County. I'm here just to tell you a little bit about myself, my experience, and hopefully earn your vote for November. I've been a licensed attorney for over 6 years. In that time, I've worked as a magistrate, an assistant public defender, and a prosecutor. I've prosecuted cases in General District Court, Juvenile Domestic Relations and Circuit Court on both sides. I've also responded to petitions for appeal as a prosecutor to the Virginia Court of Appeals and the Virginia Supreme Court. Since moving to Nottoway and joining the Commonwealth Attorney's Office in 2016, I've worked extensively with the Sheriff's Office and Virginia State Police, as well as working with the Crewe Police Department, Blackstone, and Burkeville Police Departments. Prosecuted cases everything from your assault and batteries, DUIs, larcenies, to breaking and enterings, malicious wounding, sexual assaults, and robberies. One of the other things I've done is really trying to work with victims. I've worked with our victim witness director that we have in the office, trying to keep victims informed of cases and make sure they know what resources we have here for them in our local area. And that's one of the things that I aim to do as Commonwealth's Attorney, is really keep victims informed at every stage of the case, whether it's a bond hearing, if the person that's charged with committing a crime against them is getting out of jail, status of court hearings, and really help walk them through what can be a very complex system of our criminal justice system. A little bit about my background. I grew up as an Air Force brat, as I'll sometimes say. My dad was in the Air Force. I lived 11 places by the time I turned 14 and started high school. I had a lot of a different experience, seeing different ways of life, different cultures, lived abroad and across the United States. I went to and graduated from Northumberland County High School in Virginia, graduated in 2006, went on to the University of Virginia, where I graduated with my bachelor's in 2009, went directly to Regent University School of Law, graduated from there in 2012, took and passed the bar exam that same year. Regent is really where I fell in love with criminal law. I had a couple internships in Commonwealth attorneys' offices and fell in love with being in court and criminal law in particular, and prosecution. Tried the defense side and decided that prosecution is really where my heart and my passion is. A couple of the reasons that I wanted to become a prosecutor, besides just enjoying being in court in front of people and trying cases, was to help people, to help protect our community, and to fight and seek for justice. You know, I've talked some already about helping people and helping victims. Protecting our community, that's one of the benefits and the great things about living in rural Southside Virginia, is being in this small, close-knit community. We really have a sense of peace and safety. And when violent crimes occur in our community, I know that that can really shatter that sense of safety, and it can be hard to rebuild. So knowing that and understanding that, one of the things I vow to do as Commonwealth Attorney is really prosecute violent crimes to the fullest extent and work with law enforcement to help protect our community from those violent crimes. And lastly, justice, seeking justice and fighting for justice. That's something that's near and dear to my heart. Prosecutors are in a very unique position in that most attorneys are tasked with winning cases. Well, prosecutors are tasked with seeking justice. And to me, seeking justice means looking at each defendant individually, looking at each case and its facts individually. Justice requires ethical prosecution, hard work, and dedication to both the job and the community as a whole. So as Commonwealth's attorney, seeking justice will really be at the core of how I prosecute cases. So I don't want to take up too much of your time. If you have any questions, I'm more than willing to answer those, but thank you for the opportunity just to tell you a little bit about my background and who I am.
Any members of council have any questions for Ms. Walters? What did your father do in the Air Force?
He was a fighter pilot and a test pilot for the Desert Storm. I got the Distinguished Flying Cross for it.
Outstanding.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank him for his service.
I will do that. Thank you. Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Good job.
Next, we have Rebecca Brown of the My Town Event Calendar.
If y'all don't mind, I'll speak from here.
That's fine.
Thank you so much for allowing me to come tonight. I can't tell you how much I appreciate your time, and I have 7 minutes on there, so I will not go over. The alarm will ring. My major claim to fame is that I rode in a Crewe Christmas parade in 1981. Just want y'all to know that. I was on the convertible Corvette, if you remember. I know that stands out in your memory. But seriously, I grew up in Dinwiddie County and went to high school in Kinston, in Blackstone. And somehow we went all over the world and ended up back home. And I just love the south side of Virginia. And we moved back about 3 years ago. And what I found was, besides, as Leanne said, this wonderful sense of close-knit community, you know everybody. I mean, there's not many places you can just come into the town council meeting. But we couldn't find out when events were. You had to go looking for them. The newspaper certainly does a good job of that. But a lot of times, something will happen in Crewe, and I live near Blackstone, and I wouldn't know about it, or something in Victoria. And so just messing around in this past September, I started a little teeny calendar website. And strangely, it did so well. I did not have ulterior motives. But somehow I got my son and my daughter-in-law involved. The analytics were so good. And plus, I hit the wall with technology. And my son is a code writer, and his wife is a web designer and photographer. Otherwise, we couldn't be doing this because the cost of people that work at that level would be prohibitive. But if you'll look at your handout, we have a wonderful launch week coming up. We're going to be having meetings in Blackstone, Crewe, Victoria, and Cambridge, and then a huge launch, we hope, on Saturday, March the 23rd at Mitchell's Restaurant. None of these are limited to people who just live in Crewe or just live in Cambridge, but I was told by Victoria that if I invited Cambridge to Victoria, they would not come. And told by Cambridge if I invited Victoria, they would not come. So we decided to hold them all around the area. They're open to anybody. And my code writer and my designer will be at those meetings to tell you details. And then the launch will actually, you'll get to see the website, how to use it. But the big difference will be, I've been, and along with a couple of other folks, we've been hand loading this in. And just to tell you how many events, so we've captured a little bit of Farmville, not very much, a little bit of South Hill, but that's as far out as we've gone. We have not gone in Petersburg or anything. 200 events in 1 month. And so we are writing a website that will enable people to just go in and put their event in. And that is free. And posting events will always be free. And how are we going to pay for this? We hope to sell advertising in the future. So we'll have details about all of that in these meetings coming up. And I feel like I'm leaving something out. Oh, I just wanted to give you an example of how well this has been working. And it sounds like a small thing, but it's a big deal to our towns. Our church has a chili cook-off every year, and we usually have about 25 people and about 3 pots of chili. And this year, we put it on the calendar, and we've been using Facebook to feed the calendar. So I'll put the announcement and then leave something important out and say, go look on the website. And we ended up having people from all over the town call. We had 13 pots of chili, about 100 people, and raised $400 for our food bank. So that is the kind of thing we want this to be used for, when the fire department has a fundraiser, when anything like that, because people really want to help if they can find out the information. It's sort of like when you walk into the library, you know, the bulletin board there. I've used that as a real resource to put events on the calendar. It's a digital version of the library bulletin board, really. So thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Brown?
Can I put a plug in for her?
Well, you're next up on the agenda.
Am I going to use my time, or I'm just grabbing it?
I have 3 minutes. I yield.
Are you able to go on the site and post events now?
Right now, you have to send them, it has all of that written on there. You send it to either a Gmail account or we have a little form on there. But what will happen is you're going to directly be able to go on there and post. And that, for businesses, you can have open house counts as an event, and that's going to be free. Like I use the example, Trent has a men's night at Valentine's Day, Christmas. That's an event, and it's a way to get it out everywhere. We blew up the Mennonite store, y'all. I mean, Yoder's is like, what did you do? They're like, we're out of donuts.
Is the format? Oh, sorry. Is the format a weekly format, a monthly format? It's been a little while since I've been in your site.
Right now, it's a monthly format, and it's going to switch to a yearly.
Yearly, okay.
The whole year will be up there, and each day of the month will come up. That'll be the first thing that comes up is that day.
Okay, very good. I know one thing that's popular in the New River Valley area is, I guess it's the next 3 days or something, and it's basically just the next 3 days and everything that's going on around there. So.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, but it's a great idea, and things like this are great for the community. So thank you for your
Thank you
for doing this.
Thanks.
Mr. Reed?
No, that's a great idea, especially out here in the rural areas.
That's where we felt the hole was, is that rural America is being ignored.
Anybody else on council? Ms. Yates?
I met Rebecca, she called me about a week ago and asked to meet with me, and I just really want to give her a plug, because I think that what she is doing is fantastic. I cannot, when I first started my agency 10 years ago, the way I began running clientele was I would set up a booth at a festival, and I would offer to take free pictures of people. So I was always out there looking for events that I could go to, and I would go onto the internet and look for events, and I'd find everything in Richmond and Fredericksburg and everybody everywhere but here. And we all know that all of our little towns do things for our towns. And so I think that what she's doing is going to be such a benefit to all of our communities. And I would only hope that you would not limit it to Cambridge, Victoria. I would hope that you would open it up to all of Prince Edward County, Lunenburg County, Nottoway County, and Amelia County.
Well, you know what the dream is? The dream is to go national. We're going to be millionaires!
Just as long as I don't need me to say okay? Because I'd like to give up insurance.
But really, we are focused on this little area just because that's all we can manage. But the next thing will be to step out and grab Farmville, South Hill, and then Petersburg, Richmond, and see the idea. But we got to get the bugs worked out and do a great job with it here.
I've seen her website, and it's really cool. It's really user-friendly and easy, and to people like me that hate the internet, that's really important.
Very good. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for your time.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Yates?
Okay, I'm the chamber president, and I'm just here, well, I guess to find out if you guys have taken, I guess you haven't taken the vote yet, or you're going to take a vote on the park. We as a chamber have decided that we are not moving forward with the park anymore.
Okay.
So we will not be decorating. With that being said, it's not that we're not doing anything for the town at Christmas time. We're just electing not to take charge of the park anymore.
Very good.
Okay?
Thank you. All right, with that in mind, we'll move on to the consent calendar. Madam, consent calendar considered routine and will be approved by one motion. Any item can be removed from the calendar at the request of a member of council and may be voted on separately. We have the minutes of the town council meeting held on 11 February 2019. We have the bill sheet and the additions.
Thank y'all for coming.
We have a motion. Any discussion? We have a motion. to approve the consent calendar. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. All opposed by like sign. Oh, yes, you're absolutely right. Okay. Are there any other delegations from the public? Very good.
It's okay then.
I missed that. Town managers report.
Well, be brief but expensive.
Oh, jeez.
You know, it seems like a pattern lately, but we've had another expensive repair at the sewer plant. And this is, after trying to understand it, you electricians in the room or have knowledge of generators will understand what we're talking about. The automatic transfer switch on our generator there has not been functioning for quite a while. Basically what's been going on is during power outages, which we haven't had that many, but we have had some, they're manually going in and switching over to the generator. Carter Machinery does our maintenance on this, and they came in a couple of weeks ago and were talking about it, and they pretty much planted the seed in everybody's head that what we're doing is extremely dangerous. In their exact words, somebody could get seriously injured or killed by doing this manually. We don't want that to happen, and we're not going to take that chance based on their recommendation. I've gotten one quote so far, and I'm working on another one, and it's a lot of money. It's $62,000 for a transfer switch. What I plan on doing is some of these other items that I mentioned to you previously, combining those into one particular cost or note, and seeking financing through EML, VACO, or possibly through rural development, to see if we can get a low to no interest loan for this type of thing. We're in the $200,000 right now is what we're looking at, so for everything. But I'll keep you informed of that and for where we are. I don't think we can wait much longer.
Do you need authorization from council now to take on that kind of debt?
I think we need to make a decision on getting the transfer switch. It's dangerous, and we've already had one employee say he wouldn't go near it.
Sure. Well, it could be an OSHA issue too, and Phil knows more about OSHA than me, Okay. I guess what's council's desire, is it to authorize $62,000 or up to $62,000 for manual transfer switch, or do you want to authorize the town manager to
solicit bids?
Solicit bids and consolidate? What's the general consensus? Basically,
Are we talking about soliciting bids just for this $62,000
Oh, yes.
switch?
for the whole,
For the repair.
for everything?
Well, I guess this is time sensitive,
Right.
so if it wasn't, I would have said that we'll combine everything and seek it for the next budget period.
Right.
I would almost rather reverse, you recall, y'all approved the $59,000 for that other piece of equipment. I might want to reverse that right now and get this, because this sounds like it's the other thing is not dangerous.
Right, the other thing is something that we are gonna need, but
Yeah,
it can wait.
and I think rural development in the past, they've been very good about, we could go on and spend this money on this transfer switch, take it out of reserve funds, and then come back and borrow the money, and they'll reimburse us for it. They've been pretty good about that kind of thing.
So basically, all you need is authorization for up to $62,000 for the transfer switch at this time.
Yes.
All right.
I'll make that motion.
It could be less than 62.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah, we just said that too, that's all I said. Okay.
But I'm worried about waiting too long. Carter said 8 weeks prep time for the equipment. And then I've got this other guy that's supposed to get back with me sometime tomorrow to find out. We found an obsolete, through Ronnie Moore, found an obsolete transfer switch that is 20+ years old, around $7,000 just for that particular thing, and then installation. But in my mind, I don't want to spend $7 grand on an obsolete part that we really don't know the life expectancy of it and what it's been doing before. It's obviously been taken out of something because it's used. And all that stuff has changed. 20-some years ago, that was state of the art. Now everything is like everything we've got is computerized and that type of thing. But it is a safety issue.
Is this all electrical?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we can't afford to have power outages. I mean, that would be terrible for us. If we lost power, it couldn't run the plant, we had overflow. We'd have some serious issues there, so we don't want that to happen.
So, Mr. Miskovic has made a motion to authorize up to $62,000 for the repair or the replacement of the manual automatic transfer switch. Do we have a second?
Second.
Now, that includes
That
getting,
includes it.
well, I was gonna say that up to 62,000, but we're gonna get, what, three different quotes from, do you have that many resources to go to?
No, I'm gonna be able to get one more.
Two, all three altogether, right?
No. Well, yeah, if you can't run it.
You gonna go to the guy that they,
Three, we'll have three. It may be less than that, so, and I hope that it will be. I mean, this number blew my mind, but when I went down there and looked at exactly what they were talking about, it's not what you would think. It's in your house. I mean, you know that, but it's two large panels and it's huge.
it's 3 phase.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? With that in mind, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed by like sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Just to let y'all know, the only other thing I had is we are going to do a spring cleanup. It's going to be the week of April 22nd. So we'll get that in the paper and let everybody know. And basically, that's go through the town 2 or 3 times, picking up just about anything except for tires and paint cans. We can't paint anything. We urge everyone to take advantage of that. I can't emphasize that enough. Appliances, things that you sit around and say, we really don't know how to get rid of this.
How about an old boat?
Old boat? That's all I do.
All right, thank you, Mr. Town Manager. Town Attorney.
Nothing really new to report at this moment. I would like to address you all in closed session.
Okay, very good. Mayor's report. Received a Daughters of America Revolution grant of $535 towards development of Peter Francisco historic interpretive signage that we can put out at the Veterans Memorial Park to strengthen its memorial and educational role. Another $65 has been donated in the name of the local VFW American Legion. The verbiage on the 3 signs, however, was too much according to the Park Service, so we had to split them up into 4 signs. I need another $200. I did not know whether council would be willing or would desire to donate that $200 or front it until we can make it open donation. And wanted to ask the question.
I'll find somebody to front it for you, so you can get the donation.
Okay, thank you, sir. Then we'll move on. American Legion Building, the Leon A. Harper American Legion Post number 50 is selling its property. The building itself is over 70 years old and it's in bad need of complete repair. And the roof is caving in certain areas and there's foundation issues and there's a lot of problems with it. And when the Legion looked into it, they saw that the price was too exorbitant. So the Post is going to be marketing the property over there. The Leon A. Harper Post is 100 years old this year. It's one of the oldest American Legion posts in the nation. It will continue to meet. The Post is not going away as an organization, just the building. They're going to be selling that. They'll be meeting in other places. I'll pass that on just for information from a historical perspective.
This is a statement.
Ma'am?
This is a statement.
And well, it was. I mean, at one time it was.
Which, I'm sorry, which building is this?
It's,
Well, with the tank in front.
The one up there.
no, that's
Yeah.
that's
to be a.
Oh, you're talking about that's.
Yeah.
yeah.
The one across from Southside Electric on that
Okay.
side road.
I was thinking
Rocky Ford Road.
gosh.
Chicken Festival, we had, there were general discussions among elementary council members. Some have suggested we try to hold a chicken festival, a similar event this year. And so I've really got two questions. Is council willing, because one of the discussions that came up is where can you hold it now? And the airport seemed logical. Other organizations and communities have done their events at airports. So I guess the first question is council willing to authorize the use of the airport as a site for a chicken festival or related activity, maybe sometime in September? And the second question is, does council wish to form a subcommittee to work or coordinate with the Crewe Chamber of Commerce to see about planning an event? If I leave that to y'all's discussion, I mean, I'm just asking a question.
Susan left.
Well, I think that if we're gonna look into it, we should really do it on our own. Not that we're not excluding the Chamber of Commerce, but whether they wanted to do it or not, I think we should kind of do and I'll be willing to sit on the committee. Just, can we do it? What's it gonna cost? Just to toss it around.
Sure.
That's my thought.
Okay.
I love Big Chicken Festival. I'm just saying, I'd be willing to sit on there with him and try to organize something. I know we've got a lot of local bands that we've made, that may be willing to donate their services. I know two, and may be able to, if we do sell tickets, we may be able to pay them according to attendance. I don't see why there's a problem with the airport.
Yeah, I don't think there's a problem with the airport. I think when the committee gets together, is there more than one way in the airport? Or do you have to go through the?
It would not be on the airport property, it'd be on the airport property, the way I envision it, it'd be on the airport property on the other side of the fence, and there's one entry.
Right through the houses? So when you.
No, not through the houses, when you go down, you go past the airport
Where the
property.
gate is, Bobby.
Where the gate is, it's been a while since I've been down that road. So, yeah, I think that'd be something we ought to pursue as a committee and coordinate with the chamber.
Okay. Ms. Stinson?
Fine with that.
Okay. Mr. Knight?
The only question that I would ask was, the last 2 years, the chicken festival lost money. And who's gonna front the money in case we lose money, you know?
Well, that,
Committee will handle that, but that'd be my only concern.
My thoughts are downsizing it, even if it's nothing but a band and only people from Crewe. You know, if 100 people showed up, that, you know.
You could have that down at the park.
That band alone was $5,000 for the chicken festival, not to mention the chicken, the beer. You could definitely downsize.
I mean, I think all you really need is a band, beer and wine, and chicken. That's it. And
Might
even
not
if it's,
even need the chicken.
well, can't really call it a chicken festival, but I mean, I've been thinking about it.
Yeah, I've been to many chicken festivals and I didn't
I
get the
didn't
chicken.
get the chicken.
But it was
Past 3
there.
years.
I didn't
It was
either.
there, but it was the only thing that was there too. It was just, you know,
Really, I think
when we were kids, it was the
Tickets.
chicken and the beer and,
Yeah.
you know, beer run out.
Ticket
Might be
sales
chicken.
could probably cover the cost of the beer. I mean, we need to come up with chicken and someone to cook it. And
We'll let the committee work that out.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm fine, just watch out for football schedules when you pick a date.
Okay. All right, so you two will be on the committee. Anybody else want to serve on that committee? All right, good enough. All right, y'all figure it out. If you need me to sit in, let me know. All right, good deal. So that will be placed in committee for discussion, perhaps a course of action. Very good. Committee reports. Finance committee.
Well, we need to get started on our budget process. Wade, were you thinking about how you want to start?
We're gonna start next week.
Okay.
Believe it or not. Believe it or not.
Okay.
We look so forward to it every year.
Personnel committee. Personnel committee.
Oh, I don't have a report.
Community development.
No.
Let's do chicken festival committee.
Well, I I haven't not forgot about the whole rental thing, and I do think we need to go away from the state as far as the rental inspection requirements. I have talked to Val, they have turned into 2 houses so far.
Good.
And, they haven't seen whether there's been a improvement. But they have talked to, Dominion Virginia Power, and they said if they see conditions that are bad enough to call Virginia Power, they will yank the meter.
Okay.
And whoever is there will have to leave until the property owner gets it under repair. I have been eyeballing Blackstone, they are doing inspections.
Who's doing their inspection?
When, Dean,
Dean.
when, a house is empty. I think they're going for the whole thing. I'm trying to watch and see how that plays out. I think we need to go more of a safety, list more than an inspection list. Like I said, holes in the floor, exposed wiring in the walls.
You're supposed to send me all this.
Yes, I was. I got it.
Okay.
Emailed to you tonight.
So what we took away from that last meeting, I thought one thing that was really important was it seemed like the fire department and the emergency service personnel didn't know that if they went into a house that they could report the problem they saw. So now that they've reported a couple, how do we follow up to see if anything was done about it? Is it, what happened when they reported it? Did that give the building inspector enough to go in there and look? Or
It should.
then what did it do?
It didn't.
Because we figured out, oh, there you go, then that's how you solve the problem. But I forgot what,